This episode of our podcast is brought to you by Dulaban Insurance. If you live in Ontario, Canada, and are looking for the best price and coverage for your Tesla, give Dulaban a call at 1-855-385-4226 or visit their website at dulabaninsurance.com/Tesla. Hello, everyone. Welcome again to the podcast. As you can tell, I'm here with Ian. It's my turn. They were up last week, but hey, I had to come to Montreal because we had some fun today. We'll talk about that a little bit later. It's pretty interesting. We were just chomping at the bit to talk about it. But we have some Tesla news, so we will cover that first, and then we'll get into what the heck we were up to. And if you've been following us on Twitter, you probably know what it is, but we'll get back to it later. And like last week, we said we had to do something next week, and if we told you, we'd have to kill you. But we'll let you off the hook this one time, okay? All right, so we'll talk about some Tesla news. First of all, firmware 2019 28.3.1 is going out in wide release. Eric, why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the improvements that we're seeing in this new release?
Sure. So the first major update applies to only Model S and X vehicles that have the Raven refresh, and those are ones that were built off the line from April 25th of this year or later. So in that case, those vehicles have now adaptive suspension damping improvements, which essentially improves the ride comfort for both of those models. The standard and sport modes have an updated suspension damping algorithm, which will allow the vehicles to adapt at better speeds above 160 kilometers per hour or 100 miles per hour. Now, most drivers here in the United States wouldn't really gain to benefit from this, but if you live in some other countries, like our friends will kind of suggest later on today, if you live in Canada, there are some places where you can go in excess of 160 kilometers an hour. Little teaser right there. Then there's a way to adjust that on your vehicle, so that's pretty cool. The next thing is you'll have you have the ability now to link a key to a driver profile, which is kind of something we talked about early back when there was a leak of some new information in the help area of the vehicle. So now you can link a specific key to a driver profile to allow your car to automatically select the correct driver profile. Excuse me. When the linked key is detected next to the driver's door. So there's a way to do that in the settings. That's kind of a cool thing. Chess. We've talked about it before. Some new games coming out in chess is finally as part of this update with the 3.1. Beach Buggy Racing 2 now has more game controller support, which allows you to set up 2 USB game controllers for 2 players, and then also media volume improvements, which allows you to make it easier to speak when dropping off or picking up passengers, as the music volume will be lowered when any door is opened. So it could be driver's side door, rear passenger, doesn't matter. Yeah. Additionally, while your phone is paired to Bluetooth media, the audio volume will match the vehicle's volume level regardless of your phone's volume settings, which is awesome. A nice little tweak there. So those are some of the new releases coming out, which leads us into version 10. So version 10 is going to be, this was something that Elon tweeted out earlier, and again, links to all the stuff will be in the notes for the podcast, but Elon tweeted out earlier this week that version 10 is currently in its early access phase. Wide release, we thought before, might be August or September. It looks like it's going to be 4 to 8 weeks from now. So we're looking at either late September to late October for this release. As Trevor loves to say, it's Elon time.
So February, right?
That's right. Maybe we'll do that.
Maybe.
But at least it's looking like it will be something that we're going to see closer to Q4 for sure. And with that, there were some questions on full self-driving price increases. Originally, we knew that August 16th was the cutoff date for the lower prices seen now for people like me who don't have FSD on their vehicles. That was supposed to go up from $3,000 US to at least $4,000 US starting on the 17th. That's actually been extended. Elon said in that tweet they're actually going to coincide the FSD price increase with V10 going on wide release. So again, we're looking at several more weeks where you actually could get FSD at a lower cost if you're interested in getting it. And it's also been said multiple times, if you do end up buying FSD, you do get early access to the version 10 software update. So if you're looking to get version 10 early and you're thinking about getting full self-driving, if you go ahead and do that soon, you can actually then get the software updated early.
Yeah. Version 10, I'm going to say, it's going to be, well, obviously it's the next big release, but it looks like it's getting to be a little bigger than we anticipated. It's a little bit more. Should also mention that, Enhanced Summon, which is the one that's going to find you in the parking lot type of thing, that's being rolled into this. So I think it's kind of tied what they're talking about with FSD. It's like the first version, the first true new feature that's going to require FSD on these cars. So just want to caution everyone, of course, as with anything, if you remember when version 9 came out, lots of bugs at first, so expect to have some, hopefully not too big showstoppers, but it's going to take several releases for some of this stuff to be smoothed out and settled out and stuff. So I know it's exciting to get a new software version, just be prepared for the the eventual bugs that are going to happen. So looking forward to it. Going to be some neat stuff.
I'm fairly hopeful that this will be a little bit different than version 9 for a couple of reasons. One, we know that they've been pushing the release date quite often in terms of announcements we've heard on thanks to Elon's Twitter feed. That's the first thing. The second thing is we know they're doing a lot of testing. We've seen a lot of videos of Smart Summon in its early phasing of testing. And I think a lot of that feedback that came from those early adopters has gone into this. I think they're and you've mentioned it a number of times in the show, which is they want to make sure they get this right. They have to get this right for a number of reasons. To me, first and foremost, is safety for both pedestrians, for drivers, for other vehicles, and everything else. So I think they're smart to sort of delay this, set the expectations to be a bit more realistic, if nothing else, for the sole purpose of getting this right so that when it does complete this early access phase as it is in now and does go to a wide rollout in the next month to 2 months, that by the time it goes out, it's good to go. Like, it's basically signed off by Elon, and it's going to be ready for everyone to start using it. Of course, we'll see how people get accustomed to it, but I think at that point, when they say we're going to go wide, I think it's basically ready for showtime.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Yeah. Just very quickly, because it hit the news again, CNET was talking about Tesla's FSD computer, so they're just kind of reiterating again that's 21 times faster than the current Nvidia Drive PX2 computer, which has been in all Teslas since 2016. I'm talking about AP2 hardware. Up until about March of this year when they started shipping new cars with the FSD computer, or what's known as Hardware 3. So there's 2 chips on there, so there's a lot of redundancy, of course, and lower costs again. So we kind of knew that. But if you're following along just now, maybe you don't really know what's going on, stuff that Tesla's been able to reduce the cost. Again, Tesla, as they are known to do, they tend to go quite vertical when it suits them on things. So they did it for seats, they did it for castings, they did it for FSD computer. I mean, there's a lot of stuff they do internally in order to get the cost down. So just wanted to reiterate, if you bought a car since about March, you already have the new FSD computer. You don't have to do anything. For those of you who bought FSD prior or afterwards and you have the older computers, you're entitled to an upgrade when that comes out. When it will happen, Elon has said not until later in the 4th quarter, because I get that question on Twitter a lot, all the time. So again, later in the 4th quarter, could be sometime early in the spring, typical Tesla. The reason they're not doing the upgrades right now is because the software has not been truly optimized for the new hardware. So why upgrade until they really absolutely need to? So once things kind of roll on a little bit later, and I think it's going to coincide with, maybe some of the newer features being kind of feature complete, then they can actually turn it on. We do know that I think it's stoplight detection and streetlight detection is currently running in shadow mode on the current cars, so that data is being sent up to Tesla for verification and stuff. I noticed the other day when I was driving my my Model X, I was demonstrating it to someone, and I had a destination typed in. It not only took the exit, but actually came to a complete stop right at the streetlight. And I didn't do anything. It just literally did that. So this is the first time it's actually come to a complete stop exactly like that. Now, I don't know if that was the shadow mode thing that was actually doing anything or not, but anyways, I'm just noticing little improvements like that. So looking forward to it, but again, full self-driving still a little ways away. Regulatory approval still needs to happen and stuff, but going to be a plethora of videos when this stuff comes out, especially with Enhanced Summon, right? Because everybody's going to want to do the dog and pony trick in the parking lot, right? That'll be kind of fun. Let's talk about Gigafactory 3. So Gigafactory 3 in China got a vital certificate from the Chinese government for an inspection, so they passed with flying colors. It looks like they could start pilot production as early as September. on some of the Model 3s. There was actually a purported picture that was leaked, and I forget the Twitter account. It might have been our friend Vincent, and I'm not 100% sure, but there was a picture that was purportedly leaked from inside the Gigafactory 3. It showed some Model 3 windshields in a holder. So chances are there are some parts already on site ready for pilot production to start. Now, pilot production means they build a few cars just to validate the internal equipment and testing. Doesn't mean it's full-on production. You don't just flip a switch and start making 100,000 cars, right? We witnessed the Model 3 ramp up. It took quite a while. So Gigafactory 3 is going to take a little time to get ramped up, but if all goes well, hopefully it should ramp up faster than what they expected in Fremont, because they're kind of learning as they went in Fremont. Now that they have the thing building, what is it now, 7,000 cars a week or something like that?
Yeah.
So hopefully they've taken everything they've learned from that and applied it to this, and kind of going on with that. Speaking of Gigafactory 3, there was also some talk, and this is an article courtesy of our friends at Teslarati. It looks like Gigafactory 4, which will be the European factory right now, could be located somewhere in Lower Saxon, in Emsland or Emden. Eric, do you have a little bit more? It's somewhere in Germany, right? Because there's, there's a huge automotive industry in there. Of course, today the internet went crazy because the CEO of Volkswagen said that he was interested in potentially investing in Tesla. Doesn't mean that they're going to take a voting stake, but this thing just kind of blew up today. Eric?
Yeah, and Volkswagen quickly debunked that. They were very adamant on that. Yeah, we're not.
We cannot confirm or deny that we are talking to Germany.
So our friend Simon Alvarez at Teslarati put out the story earlier today where the economics minister Bernd Althusman, I believe I got that correctly.
Awesome.
Who confirmed that the ministry had presented potential locations in Lower Saxony to Tesla executives. Shared that there were two specific sites in Lower Saxony. One is Emden and one is Emsland, as potential sites for Gigafactory 4. Now, we know for a while there's been rumors of them trying to eventually get Gigafactory 4 somewhere in Europe. So now we're looking at, somewhere on the German-French border is what they're thinking would make the most sense. And this is actually Elon Musk even said that. He said, perhaps on the German-French border makes sense near the Benelux countries. So Lower Saxony has reportedly expressed its interest as a targeted site for Gigafactory 4. So there's been kind of conversations back and forth in this. Nothing is obviously settled yet. Tesla has released updates on Gigafactory 4's construction recently. During the second quarter earnings call, Musk had noted the location of the Euro Gigafactory will be finalized before the end of 2019. So to have this report coming out now is sort of suggesting that we're on a target to do so. And then the next 12 to 18 months in terms of plans, construction, and so forth will be interesting. So whether they get this built as quickly as the Gigafactory 3, obviously we'll see where that goes. I think China's construction is pretty quick at some of this stuff. I think a lot of us were pretty surprised how fast GF3 is going to be coming online. But no, this is definitely good information coming out, and hopefully we'll see by the time Model Y is in full production come 2021 that GF4 may be close to becoming online.
I don't know about you guys, but Germany just makes total sense for Tesla to build. I mean, there's a huge already an automotive infrastructure in the German. Yeah. I mean, the big three are there. It just makes total sense for them to do that. I mean, they got the engineering. Grohmann's already there. Yeah. I'm sure the German government's going to give them lots of incentives.
One would hope.
Autobahn is there.
Yeah, and
that's my number one favorite reason.
How much pushback are they going to get from the big three, though? They're going to be mad.
That's the thing, like how much political sway do they hold? That to me is a bit of a mystery in terms of how much that influences.
Mm-hmm.
But certainly that's got to be a factor,
right? Mm-hmm. Well, moving on, a little bit sadder news. Looks like Walmart has decided to try and sue Tesla over some solar panel fires. Apparently, Walmart has some 240 installations with Tesla solar panels. It's important to note that this is the solar division of Tesla, formerly known as Solar City. So it's not Tesla, the automotive company, necessarily, so don't try and get the two confused. Anyways, I got a link. I'll put it into the podcast or the video description, but it comes from Reuters. Anyways, it looks like... It appears from reading some of the documents that looks like Walmart might have been in breach of contract with Tesla. They've de-energized some of these things. And anyways, make a long story short, the thing is with Walmart, you have to be careful because they have a long-standing history sometimes of being rather ruthless and sometimes some bully. They're a little bit of a bully and stuff. So I don't know. We're keeping an eye on this. I'm not too worried about this. It looks like Tesla worked really, really hard to try and settle with these guys, to try and keep it out of the news in a sense from... Yeah, I mean, Walmart's a huge customer. You want to hold on to them. You want to bend over backwards and make them happy and stuff. But obviously, Walmart doesn't seem to want anything to do with this, and they just want to smear them, I guess, at this point. I don't know what's going on. We'll keep an eye on this. But anyways, I don't know. Is this the new solar panel? There's not all the time. I'm going to say that these are existing contracts that were in place. It was probably Solar City. So now
this is Solar City from as far back as 2016. So these were stores. Walmart first became a customer of Solar City as far back as 2010. And wow. Between 2010 and 2016, they had retrofitted 244 of Walmart's store rooftops with solar panels as part of that contract. So the lawsuit stipulates, and this is what Walmart is saying in the lawsuit, is accusing Solar City, and again, this is part of what the Tesla ownership group now runs. Of course, Solar City used to be separate. Solar City of having an ill-considered business model that required it to install solar panels haphazardly and as quickly as possible in order to turn a profit. And the contractors and subcontractors who performed the original installation work had not been properly hired, trained, and supervised. So that's part of what Walmart's claiming in the lawsuit. So we'll keep an eye on this to see where things develop. But again, this is actually dating back 9 years ago. So it's quite a number of stores that were affected here that they're trying to get to have Tesla remove the solar panels from those 244 stores. Mm-hmm. And they turn it off. They're not connected. So they're on the roof in all of them, but they're now de-energized. I see. So yeah, not a good idea.
Yeah. Well, we'll keep an eye on that and see what develops out of that one. Let's see here. Well, if you've been following, Norway is pushing quite hard in the battery electric vehicle market. I mean, Tesla's the #1 seller over there, but sales have dropped of diesel vehicles since 2013, 95%. It's off the charts. And you know what? I think more countries need to be more like Norway and really show us some impetus on here in terms of incentivizing people properly and making some good decisions at the government level to try and rid themselves of these vehicles, or at least ban them so that new sales of vehicles don't really happen. We're seeing more and more of this, like some European cities, for example, are starting to ban or going to start banning gasoline and diesel vehicles from city centers and stuff because, the congestion. I was just talking to someone there the other day. I mean, if you go to China, man, is it ever bad in China? So it's starting there. And it's really starting to spread. So good for Norway on this. I would say probably in the next 5 years, it'll be 100%. It's gone. It's moving so fast.
Well, the ban is 2025, right? So,
well, they're going to beat it, I think. Getting there.
Yeah, in summer 2013, there were almost 14,000 diesel vehicles sold in Norway. That number is now around 5,000. As of last check. So it's been a considerable drop in the last 6 years. The 95% number you noted before was actually some of Volvo's figures that they've seen decreases as much as 95% in sales. So, this is, again, for one, it's a good thing to see more vehicles that are diesel coming off the streets, more going electric. But again, Norway, I think, is setting the pace that I wish other countries sort of followed. Because of how much they've revolutionized EV adoption. Granted, they're a smaller country in terms of population than, say, the United States or Canada or what have you. But to see what they've done in such a short time frame is to be lauded and celebrated and appreciated for what they've done. Because it's been a huge, huge boon, I think, to the European market for that adoption rate they've had.
It's important to remember, too, that the automotive sector for passenger cars gets all the attention, but it's more than that. Buses, trucks and stuff. Like Ian and I, we were at a test track today. There are electric buses being tested. Oh, yeah. City buses. Oh, yeah. From some big names.
And even China is trying to get into some huge orders to get their bus grid electrified.
Exactly. We saw some pretty impressive stuff today. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's happening at multiple levels. So even though, like I said, the passenger cars get all the attention, it's happening at multiple different levels. All right, moving on. Our good friend Sean, over on his YouTube channel there, All Things EV, had a great interview with Sandy Munro. He actually traveled to Michigan and sat down with Sandy Munro and had a wonderful interview with him, and I encourage you to go and look at the video. I'll link it down in the bottom. But basically, Sandy is basically coming out again and saying that despite Tesla's issues with making bodies, which he feels that are still lacking in some ways and are a little bit over-designed, but essentially, Tesla still has a 10-year lead over U.S. auto manufacturers as far as electrification is concerned. I've been long saying that it's 15 years, but who's counting numbers at this point? But yeah, it's pretty incredible. When you got a guy like Sandy's been around for a long time. He worked for Ford and GM and stuff, so he knows this stuff as far as building cars are concerned. But yeah, it's pretty interesting to see that the automotive business is switching, but it's like, I don't know, it's like pulling hen's teeth to try to get these other companies to come out and actually do anything. It's one thing to announce vehicles, but I mean, Chevy's had 2 electrified vehicles. They just canceled the Volt. They still have the Bolt, and no follow-up yet. It's already been, the Bolt's been out, 3 years now? You'd think that they would have a couple other models. Maybe they're just playing it safe and just saying, well, we'll just see how things going. I don't know. What's the other car we saw? The e-tron? No, which is the one they're already discounting?
You're talking about the I-Pace.
Yeah, the I-Pace.
Yeah. Being
discounted like crazy. Well, especially in the U.S. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Lackluster sales, incentivizing people. I don't know. I'm all for people getting, and more companies getting more cars. But when you got things like, Jaguar taking the I-Pace and putting them over by superchargers. I mean, look, guys, you're preaching to the choir. You're not going to get a Tesla guy to buy one of those things.
Oh, that's Audi that's doing it.
Oh, that's Audi. Sorry.
Yeah.
I apologize. Yeah. Audi. So, yeah, they got some weird stuff going on as far as the marketing thing. Like I said, don't convert the people that already have electric. Go, market them to your own customers.
Exactly.
Take them to public events. Market to those people. You're not going to get a Tesla guy to switch to, to an I-Pace or an e-tron or anything like that. That's just my opinion.
I think the only one at this point that has a chance of stealing a few customers is the Taycan. What we've seen so far, that's a pretty impressive package.
I'm waiting for Alex Roy's review because he just said on Twitter today that he had a chance to review it, and he says it's a real Porsche. But the embargo lifts, September 4th?
Correct.
So at that point, we'll have, he's an expert, so we're waiting to see what he has to say about that.
But I want to see somebody bring something to the table that can at least approach Tesla. Like the idea that it's an impossible goal is sad. We're never going to meet our greenhouse gas targets if no other car company can do this. It's going to take too long for Tesla to ramp. I want the other guys to succeed and bring something good to the table.
If anything, the Taycan will do is that if they advertise it, it'll get it more into the minds of the people. People that are buying Teslas know already about Tesla. Yeah. But the fact is, the general public, and we just saw it today. Yeah. There's people that, okay, what's this all about? You got 3 electric vehicles. Who is this company? And the questions come out, and that's largely because Tesla doesn't do any traditional automotive marketing. So the one thing that Taycan's going to do, of course, is get it in the public mind for the the muscle car guys that really like that type of thing, and for the traditional Porsche people that are looking they want a Porsche experience. They want the Tesla DNA, so to speak, but more of a Porsche knows how to do things like bodies, and they know how to do suspension in sports cars and stuff. So as good as the Model S is, I think the Taycan's going to be a much better sports car than the Model S could ever imagine to be. Well, until the Roadster comes out, but that's a different animal altogether. We'll have to wait and judge that car when it arrives. But no, I'm excited about the Taycan. I think the pictures of the interior finally came out today. A little too buttony for me, but it's showing that they're going in that direction with more electronic controls and digital entertainment systems and stuff. The industry's slowly going that way and stuff. So anyway, so September 4th will be the big day for that, to be able to see what's going on. I wanted
to quickly just kind of add my 2 cents in this, and I don't want to take too long on this. But to me, this sort of goes back to the Periscope I had a couple days ago, which is...
By the way, congratulations! That was totally awesome. I watched it. Cool. You need to do more of that stuff. You're so well spoken on that stuff. Kudos, man.
I appreciate that. I was certainly going to give some consideration to do it some other time. I won't do it every week, but I think from time to time, as the time warrants, I'll be glad to do that. This sort of, we've talked about this before, and we are certainly advocates for the EV community as a whole. We obviously know Tesla more than anything because each of us have either been or are existing Tesla owners. Some of us, of course, are going to get Roadsters coming. I think between the three of us, there's two, and I know Ian and I don't have any.
Excellent math.
You're welcome. Math is important. I remember a long time ago, a great joke is there are three kinds of people in the world: those who can count and those who can't. So, yeah. But no, when it comes to electric vehicles, I will never, ever judge someone who says, you know what, I want to go electric, but I can't do Tesla. And that's fine. You know, you're going to have people who are loyal to BMW who want to get an i3. There are those who look at Porsche and go, I'm going to get the, you know, as you say, the Taken, which sounds like it's a Liam Neeson movie. You know, there are, you're welcome. There's a number of different manufacturers out there that are really now trying to enter the EV sector. Now, if they're marketing it in the way, and this is just, again, this is free advice for you guys who are in PR. If you're marketing it as something Tesla blank, the Tesla killer, you know, anything like that, you're doing yourself a disservice. To me, the auto manufacturing industry would do itself a favor if rather than trying to knock down another manufacturer, it's say, basically welcome them with open arms. Thank you for now being part of this movement. Because to me, that's what we have to do. Yep. You know, here in the U.S., we basically have a political campaign running in the Democratic side. A number of candidates have come forward with very large green policies that they want to get out there. A lot of it involves changing the way we are doing transportation with electric buses, high-speed rail, electric rail, you know, EV investments, all sorts of stuff. So it's good that people are looking at manufacturing and go, well, look, the market has a surplus of electric options, which is great. So if you're looking to go electric, or even if you're looking for a PHEV, a plug-in hybrid, it's a step forward. Anything you can do to get a strictly ICE vehicle off the road is an advantage. It's a good thing for the environment. It's a good thing for the community. It's good for the air that we breathe. But yeah, it's disconcerting to see other advertisers trying to knock down someone else. As Sandy said, we're 10 years ahead of the curve from other U.S. manufacturers. But we invite competition. We're glad to see that. We're glad that there are other options for different markets, for different pricing options, for different mileage restrictions. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff. So ideally, it's all great. We will never on the show knock down another car. We might compare it to an existing vehicle just to give you an understanding of how one SUV compares to another or one sedan compares to another. But we're never going to sit here and go, oh, the Hyundai this or the Honda that or Toyota that. No, we invite more EVs in the market. So this is good news coming forward, especially if you're someone who has driven Porsches before and loves the performance of a Porsche or a Jaguar or whatever. That's I wanted to add that to the conversation.
Awesome.
Amen.
FineLab has a line of protective coatings that were engineered to protect your Tesla's paint, leather, carpet, plastic, and wheels, effectively blocking all those UV rays and environmental factors before they ever get to ruin your brand new baby. FineLab offers a complete line of car care products and ceramic coatings for both the do-it-yourselfer and professional detailers. Did we mention we also have the world's first self-healing coating? Check us out at finelab.com, that's spelled FEYNLAB, to see the science behind the self-healing. Check out our product catalog and click Contact Us for a free quote from a certified installer in your area. FineLab and Tesla, we were meant for each other.
All right, well, next article is not Tesla related, but it is SpaceX, and because we're kind of related through Elon Musk, we thought we'd talk about it. Space.com is reporting that SpaceX's Starman, which is the little guy sitting in that Roadster that they launched on February 8, 2018. Was it 2018? Yeah, it was 2018. Has made a full lap around the sun. So, yeah, he's still out there. Elon actually took to Twitter because somebody had asked him, well, is there any way that you can build a BFR or whatever to go and meet up with him? He says, yeah, it might be possible someday. So I'm not making any comments about that. But anyways, it just shows that, the thing is still floating out there and still will be for some time.
Many millions of years, in fact.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, yeah, little Roadster is still going around the sun. Anyhow, listen, we're not taking any viewer or listener questions tonight because I want to pass the plate over to Ian here to talk about something that he's been working on for some time now, and he kindly invited me to come down and assist him today to do some video and help him out with some testing. And so I came down. And Ian, why don't you tell the viewers and the listeners, and now you're going to hear it here first. We are producing a video to explain exactly what we did, but you're going to hear it here first on the podcast, exactly what we've been up to. So Ian, why don't you tell the listeners and viewers?
Well, thank you. And before I get into it, I want to really throw out a gigantic thank you to our man here, Mr. Page, for coming down and helping me with this crazy enterprise, because it was quite a bit of work. We had a couple of really great people who were generous with their time, and Trev, above and beyond, really helped out, especially in documenting it. I mean, you've all seen Trevor's YouTube videos. They speak for themselves. Well, wait till
don't forget to subscribe.
Subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you don't,
you're dead to me.
But you're dead to everyone on this podcast if you don't subscribe to the YouTube channel.
All right, whatever.
Be that as it may. So, yes, anybody who's been listening to the hints, the Twitter, the buzz, all the nonsense we've been trying to create over this, the big story for me for the last year has been the development of our new line of EV wheels at Fast Wheels, which we call Fast EV. I know. We're sort of taking a page from Elon on that, right? You know, if the car is a sedan, call it the
Model S.
Exactly. You know, if it's a Roadster, call it a Roadster. So we call it Fast EV. So it's a lineup of 3 wheels, but really one of them is near and dear to my heart. And that's the EV01. This is the wheel that you've been seeing pictures. We launched the prototype back in May, and we got the first production wheels that had passed all of their durability testing, radial fatigue, and all these other physical tests just a few weeks ago. So they arrived about a week ago at our shop, and we're thrilled with the finish quality and, you know, the structure of the wheel and everything else.
They look fantastic, by the way.
Yeah, is really good, you know, especially for very early production wheels. But the super critical thing, of course, is, do they actually work? And this was a giant unknown. Because we have zero experience in fluid dynamics. I mean, we're a wheel company. We have terrific background with mechanical engineering and designing wheels that are strong and do the job and, you know, to a certain degree look cool, I'd like to think. But we really had no idea how to build an aero wheel. And really few people in the aftermarket do. It's just not something that's common.
It's only starting with EVs now.
Yeah.
Like your neighbor has a Kona, and they have like aero wheels on it too. So.
Hyundai, actually, I'm going to give Hyundai a lot of credit. They have some of the coolest designs out there. So when we set a benchmark, you know, last year in terms of what we want the wheel to look like, Hyundai was a good inspiration. You know, I'd say we borrowed a lot from Hyundai, and of course, you know, right now the mark to beat is the original 18-inch Tesla aero wheel.
Yeah.
So that's what we were out to get. We thought, can we offer something that's going to be sort of as efficient? You know, we were trying to get near it. We didn't think we could actually attain it. But if we could get close to the improvement that the aero wheel improves, but give something a different look. If you know, if you're not a big fan of the aero, or you just want to personalize your car, if you want to make it look different, but you don't want to lose that fantastic efficiency of the aero wheel, we wanted to offer you an alternative. That was really the goal of the EV01. So it was time to get out there and check it out. So what we did is we rented a 7-kilometer long, that's 4 and something miles, test track at the Transport Canada Research Centre up in Blainville, which it's a private company now that runs it, called PMG, but it is still officially a government test facility, which does much more than just, you know, run cars around the track. There's crash testing there.
Oh my! It was amazing.
We got a full tour of the lab. It was
We couldn't take pictures, but we wanted to share them so bad with you, because, you know, when you see the videos on YouTube or on TV where they do the crash testing of the car slamming into the wall with the cameras, they have all that there. They have the dummies. They have a barbecue thing where they can turn the car upside down. They have, I mean, you name it, they have it. It was like, it's pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Crash test dummies are people too, you know.
They're very expensive.
They're very expensive.
$500,000 to $1 million US.
They can go up to $1 million for those things.
Yeah, we saw one taken apart. It was just like, whoa.
Oh yeah, it's pretty wild.
And they're smart.
Yes. Yeah, they're brilliant.
Instrumented. They can have up to 140. Was it
140 channels?
140 channels worth of data they can record. It's crazy. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, for a while there, we were just like geeking out, going, "Oh yeah, we came here to do some testing." Yeah. So we hit the track, and without further ado, here's what happened. So what we wanted to do is try and get the most responsive car for the testing, which I think would be the standard range Model 3, because it's the lightest. So anything you do to it, you know, it's going to be the most sensitive car. So my friend Michael Triffin was so very kind to lend
Thank you, Michael.
his virtually brand new SR
Apologies for
Plus.
the bugs on the front.
Yes, it's now been painted like electric Kool-Aid bug color. I'm going to have a lot of washing to do before he gets home. But yes, so we had the SR Plus, which I was driving, and we tested it in all these different configurations. And meanwhile, Trevor was running about a half a lap behind me in Magneto, my performance Model 3, using the same set of wheels and tires consistently over the course of the day.
I was the control car.
Exactly. So I used the control car to see if there are any variations with temperature, wind, all these other factors. But already, what's nice about having a giant oval track where you're just doing laps is that any variation in wind is already canceled out. You just have to sort of factor in for humidity and temperature changes. So that's what we did. But right away, as soon as we started running laps, I was amazed with the consistency. You know, like 3-4 laps in, you know, the energy consumption graphs in the cars were stabilized, and that's where they would sit. So our original goal was to run 60 kilometers or about 40 miles in each configuration. We quickly saw that after 20 kilometers or 12, 15 miles, you had stable data. So we ran 30. So 30 kilometers or 18 miles on every set. And we started with the factory aero wheel without covers. And the number we got after running the distance was 182 kilowatts.
Watt hours per kilometer.
I'm reading the wrong thing here. Yeah, so watt hours per kilometer. My apologies. So watt hours per kilometer, we got 182. Every test, I should note, was run at exactly a speed of 120 kilometers an hour, which is 75 miles an hour. And we also calibrated the speedometers in the two cars. So Magneto was actually running at a 122 indicated. According to the GPS numbers, that was exactly the same speed. So we had the cars synced in speed. We ran them half a lap apart so that we didn't have any turbulence. We wanted no aerodynamic interference from one car to the other.
Same tire pressure?
We ran not only the same tire pressure, we ran the same tires at the same tread depth wear. I've been driving like a maniac for the last 3 months on a set of Michelin MXM4s to wear them down to exactly the same height as what we had on the test car. So both the test car and Magneto wore the identical factory OEM Tesla
so
Michelins.
Tire pressure, even the HVAC system in the car was set identical on both cars, manual speed, AC on, certain temperature.
Yeah.
Like we tried to remove every variation other than the weight, the natural weight of the car.
Yeah.
We didn't have any extraneous stuff in the car and stuff. So,
but even the weight remained constant. Like we didn't add or subtract anything from the cars other than change the wheel.
Try to make it as scientific as possible, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So we got on run number 1 with the factory aero wheels with no covers on, so naked. We got 182 watt hours per kilometer. Run number 2, we put the aero covers on, and we dropped to 173. So that's about a 5% difference, which I was really impressed with. I've only seen between 3.5% and 4.5% in, you know, some of the anecdotal videos. I wouldn't call them anecdotal, but some of the road test videos that have been done, which were quite well done.
A lot of people have done the testing, and that seems to be about right.
4% seems to be the number. So we got 5, but meanwhile in Magneto, we were seeing a very slight drop in Magneto's consumption over the course of these runs, sort of within, you know, rounding error, we'll call it. But just to be safe, we ran one last test at the end to be a control. So let's give the Tesla wheel the benefit of the doubt, and we'll say it got a full 5% benefit. We then bolted on the EV01 with its aero covers in place.
Which are the inserts. We call them inserts.
Inserts, exactly. The inserts, they're individual little pie plate inserts that screw in.
Before you get any further, let's just talk about the specs of the wheels, because people are asking all the time. The standard aero wheel from Tesla, the 18-inch with the caps on, is 23 pounds.
23.0 pounds, correct.
Okay, no tire, just the rim.
Just the rim.
Okay. The EV01s are 21.4 with the inserts.
Correct.
Okay, so we're about 1.5 pounds lighter.
Correct.
Just on that rim. So just so people know, that's the difference between these two wheels.
And every specification is identical. It is an 18 by 8.5 inch wide. It is a plus 40 offset. The center bore is 64.1 millimeters, so you don't need a ring. It basically snugs right up. We're going to make a special version, of course, for the performance car, because performance car. You think I wouldn't make one for my own? And lastly, you can even pop in the original Tesla cap in the center.
Yeah,
as a little
the
bonus.
ports are the same.
Yeah, the center cap placement will accept your factory Tesla cap.
Okay, so what's the number?
So without further ado,
this is the one we've been waiting for, because we were hoping not necessarily to beat Tesla's numbers, but we
that
wanted
seemed
to get
impossible.
Yeah, like we were just like, remember, these guys are not doing fluid dynamics. They're not doing aerodynamics. They just want to see how close they can come. So
exactly.
Okay, what do we end up with, Ian?
174.
Rounding errors.
74.
We nailed it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Tesla Aero 173. We got 174. And I'll do you one better. Just to really be sure, we decided to go and bolt the Tesla Aeros back on, because we were seeing these slight fluctuations in Magneto's numbers. So Pierre Champoux, who was one of the super kind guys,
thank you, Pierre,
who came out to help us. He's ex-director of operations there for many years ago. Fantastic mechanical engineer, said, you know what, to close out your testing, run the Tesla Aero again and see if you get a consistent number. So when we ran the Tesla Aero on the very last one, we got 174. We actually got the same number. Now, I don't want to claim that we matched Tesla's numbers. That seems insane. I can't imagine that we did.
But we also did a test of the EV01s, and we took the inserts out.
Yeah.
What number did we get, Ian?
180. So, yeah, we were actually
the
a little
inserts
bit lower.
work.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. They work.
There's no question about it. We have the data to support it now. We ran enough tests. I'm very confident in the numbers. So I think both the Tesla Aero and our wheel are capable of giving you somewhere in the 4 to 5% boost in range.
Yeah, absolutely. So kudos. We want to give kudos to the Tesla engineers, because they did phenomenal work. The Aeros actually do work.
Hell yeah.
Because these guys built their own.
Yeah. And
it works.
Yeah. Miraculously, considering this was done by gut instinct, eye, and a lot of...
You know what? Here's my takeaway. I'm sorry to interject here, but I have to say this. I know there's a love-hate relationship with the Aero wheels. I know a lot of people want the efficiency. They can't stand the hubcap situation. They pop them off, and you have perfectly nice, however, I feel a little mundane-looking aluminum alloy wheel underneath, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when Ian showed me the EV01 wheel, and even without the inserts, it looks so much better than the Aero wheel. So my opinion is that here you got a wheel that weighs less than the Tesla one, gives you the same efficiency, and it's going to cost less, and it looks way better. So you get the best of everything, I think, for people that want efficiency, want a better looking wheel, and don't necessarily like the Aero wheel. Well, you've got this. Now, I mean, there's only one down part, and I know a lot of people are going to complain about this. The EV01s, the inserts, takes you a little bit more time to install, because it's not a hubcap, right? But there are trade-offs and everything. But and I even posted some pictures, of course, because you had two with the EV01s without the inserts, and and people love them. They look great. So you can perfectly drive these cars without the inserts, and you still get excellent 180 watts, watt hours per kilometer,
75 miles an hour. Yeah, I'll take that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So
that's our story, man.
Did it?
Yeah,
nailed it.
Yep.
So my
Super
question
happy.
is, could someone get them offset if they wanted?
Offset? You mean like a different offset, like a different stance, Eric? You're talking about?
Well, like if you wanted larger wheels in the back than the front.
Oh, to do a stagger.
Staggered.
Yeah. You know what? We've gotten a lot of really interesting questions since we started chatting up about a week ago. That was one of the things that came out, is people like, can I do a stagger, or can you get them in a bigger size, like something a little beefier to go racing?
So what are the sizes you're going to offer?
Well, right now, we're going to build it for almost all of the popular plug-in hybrids and battery electric cars. So 16-inch, we're going to do a 16.6.5, a 17.6.5, a 17.7, an 18.8, and the Tesla size, which is an 18.8.5. However, we will not, as of yet, do a stagger, because staggers, although we all love them, they look cool, they really sell in very low volume. I have a hard time moving more than 100 pieces, maybe 200 pieces in any given size of stagger. And to build tooling, and we would have to build a completely separate mold to do the wider rear. For a wheel, it's claim to fame as efficiency. I'm not sure that if we're there yet, but I know the reaction is good. So guess what, folks? If you buy enough of them, I can convince the people with the checkbook to write me some money for some more molds, and we can get you some stagger action going. I will tell you one thing, though. A lot of people have expressed interest in a larger size, because a lot of people love the look of a 19 or a 20. So do I. But they want the aero efficiency in those sizes. And that's what I'm fighting hard for. So just before we go to a stagger, my first thing is let's try and get a 19 and a 20 going.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of Model S love in there as well in a 20. So these are all things we're working on.
And I think it's important before we forget, Ian, because you guys have built these a little heavier. Well, not heavier. You guys have built these
A little heavier duty.
a little heavier duty for a reason.
Yes.
Why is that?
Model Y.
So these will be
Why?
available for the Model Y.
Why, you ask? Why?
Why?
That was an Eric Camacho move if there was
Yes,
one.
yes. So they had a little bit of forethought. The new
Yes.
Model Y was
Why
coming.
would you do that?
There you go. There you go. Go, man. Go.
Yeah.
Open the door. Yes, but exactly. We don't know what the final weight is going to be, the gross axle weight on the Model Y.
But you built some margin into it.
We did. We built it to 715 kg, which is about 85 kilos per corner over what you need on a Model 3. A Model 3, the heaviest version, only needs about 630 kilograms to pass all testing for load on its heaviest axle version. But we built another 85 kg into it to make sure that we've got some room for Model Y.
So even though we tested this on the Model 3, these wheels are not just for Model 3. They're
Nope.
going to make them for a whole bunch of different
Yep.
EVs with the same style. So
Exactly.
if you don't have a Tesla, you're listening to the podcast and you think, oh, these guys are just talking to... No, it's going to be for a bunch of cars.
We love all
They,
EVs.
they have a couple other designs. I'm not talking about it quite yet, but they have a couple other designs they're working on. What's availability in? Because people are going to ask.
Well, right now we're hoping the first batch of the 18.5 for Tesla should land sometime in late October. At this stage, I am fearful we are going to sell out of them. I think there's only about 400 pieces that are going to land in the first batch. That's
they'll be
100
gone.
cars. Yeah, so if you're interested in these, please get a hold of one of our retailers. I mean, Trev, I'm sure you can put the link in for our dealer finder. And good news for all of you, all of our friends in the U.S., we are working on a U.S. distributor. I should have official news of that sometime in the next week. I will publicize that on Twitter as soon as I can.
Well, don't forget to put it on the forum, too. Because
Of course, it'll go on the forum. So, Tesla Owners Online for all of you people that are subscribed. And if you're not on Tesla, if you're not a member...
Membership is free, by the way.
Exactly.
It doesn't cost you anything.
It doesn't exactly.
What?
So.
What? It's free?
Free?
Don't say there's no such thing as a free lunch.
Where can I go buy it?
There we go. So in the U.S., we're hoping to be able to ship directly out of the U.S. at some point in the near future.
Yeah, it's not like you can't buy out of Canada.
You can.
It's just the shipping issues and
exactly. It's just a little,
shipping.
It's just a little longer. It's a little more complicated, and we're just trying to smooth it out for all of our friends in the U.S. Road trip. Well, yeah, exactly. I got that today. It's like, hey, why don't we drive up to Canada? Why don't you drive up to Canada?
Because if I go to your shop, could you just put the tires on my wheels? I mean, you can do that there, right?
Well, one of our dealers can, yes. We would not do that, but we have, I don't know,
if they have a whole dealer network. Remember, these guys are manufacturers, right? They don't sell.
Correct.
They're manufacturers. Correct. So you have to go to a dealer. That's on their website.
You got friends in high places.
Yeah. Well. But all in all, epic day.
Yeah.
And we went and celebrated. We had a nice dinner.
Well, we forgot the most fun we had.
Yeah. Oh,
when all the craziness was over, I thought, you know what? Let's now take the EV01s and bolt them on Magneto. And under the flimsiest of engineering excuses, I thought, we want to make sure that the inserts don't come off at high speed, right,
And
Trev?
what better way to do that?
Than to take it out on the track and let her rip. So for the first time since I've owned this car, we uncorked it. And oh my God.
If you watch the Twitter live stream that I did, there's some cursing involved because he scared the crap out of me.
Yeah, we had some fun.
We hit 260 kilometers per hour, which is a 161.557 miles per hour on this track.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That's
the speed we were like heading into the corner. They have these bank turns. Yeah, you can actually run hands off the steering wheel at
which is really cool.
Close to 180 miles an hour with the car just inches from the guardrail.
No hands.
It almost
curves all by itself.
Yeah,
it's like old school autopilot.
Well, that's it. It's Isaac Newton's driving at that point. Just let her ride up the bank. And I couldn't quite do that. I don't know if you can make it out in the video, but in one of the banks, I was like,
I could feel
it away.
It was
and it was
getting a little squirrely.
It was getting a little squirrely, and all of a sudden, boop, 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 we lost the traction control.
Oh yeah, the car started flipping out.
The car was like, "What are you up to? I don't want to know about this. I'm out."
I will say this though: I had a chance to watch some of the videos on Periscope, and watching it from here, I was telling this to Ian before we started taping, but like, you could sort of feel the tension and the anxiety in the vehicle, especially when Trevor's like, "Oh shit, no." But as great as it was on Periscope, I cannot wait to see this in high definition.
I'm going to try and pull it down, and I'll hopefully be able to re-upload it and put it uniquely on the YouTube. You know what? In hindsight, I should have live streamed it on the YouTube channel. The quality would have been better, but I'll do my best to actually put it up on the YouTube channel so everybody can really enjoy it. Now, I did capture it on my SLR, but it's probably going to be really bumpy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the camera was just kind of doing this all over the place.
Oh, you know what? 250 kilometers per hour in a straight line is not scary. It's when you're coming up real close to those banks, it's like, oh, I don't want to die.
Yeah, and your head was what, a foot or something from the guardrail?
Oh my gosh!
But remember, with these, I mean, here's the intriguing thing: if you were in any other standard vehicle, and I say standard as in basically not a Tesla. You could sort of have that concern, but I mean, those cars grip. I mean, especially when you have a P3. Come on, man.
Yeah, it did grip.
I'll tell you what, Ian, if I go up there next time and you got something you want to test out, then you know what, damn it, let's turn that corner and see what happens.
Done.
And don't forget, we achieved these speeds at, what was it, 52% SOC?
Yes, I want to say that was one of the most amazing things was when I originally planned out the day, I knew we would have enough time to get a run in, but I was worried that we wouldn't have enough charge, and they only have level 2 chargers at PNG.
And not conveniently available either.
No,
so
it would have been
they would have been inside the shop or something.
So we would have timed out. I only had the track for 5 hours, and I think we would have timed out if we had to run into town and find a Chatham or something. So we held off on using my car on one of the last 2 runs when we were just back-to-back testing the SR, and we left it at 50% state of charge. I thought, okay, well, it'll do what it'll do. Let's just go have some fun with it. And I mean, hell yeah, it pulled right up, was way over 250 on the first run. And then when we came out of the second bank and we dropped the hammer, it pulled right up to 2. We just pulled 260 before we're going.
It could have kept going, and I'm sure we could have gotten even more. Well, 262 is the limit, right?
Yeah, and I didn't want to take you into the corner at 262 because I thought your head was going to explode.
Oh my gosh.
We let her go to there and took it back.
We did, a lap and a half, and we burned over 10%.
Yeah.
And the energy graph was just like flat red.
The energy was fire.
When you guys were at the start of the video before the drive even commenced, you were saying our SOC is at 52%. You weren't sure. I didn't even think you were going to hit 161 miles an hour.
We didn't think so either.
No.
So but the car did. All the more impressive.
And it did it. I mean, I got to go back and look at the video, but based on how fast it was dropping, I think we hit 161 miles an hour at around 45 SOC. Couldn't have been more than that.
Wow.
So how cool is that the car will pull top speed in the 40s? You know?
It's truly impressive.
My guess is probably when you hit 20%, that's when you're really going to see some conservative figures.
Yeah. Somewhere in the 30s or 20s.
Yeah, but I think if you're I'm thinking we've now shown if you're in the 40s and 50s, that thing's still going to pump out some whiplash on you.
Yep.
All in all, pretty epic day. We had a heck of a lot of fun. I can't wait to start putting the footage together because it's going to be a good video. Oh yeah. We got to do that more often.
I can't wait to see it.
Well, I'm sure a lot of the viewers will love to as well. But I promise I'll do my best to get it out as soon as I can this week because, this week. Well, what's today? Thursday?
It's Thursday.
Yeah, I'll edit it sometime on the weekend. So sometime hopefully early by mid next week.
It'll be out by the time D10's out. That's probably a fair assessment.
No, I think Trevor time is still a little better than Elon.
No, yeah. I have a pretty good. Yeah, I'm pretty good.
I will say this: Ian's smile in the photographs and the stills that were shown this week. You could use the adage "a kid in a candy store," and I think that's actually still being disingenuous. I think Ian was like high as a kite. So.
We had radios and we were talking to each other, and there, when Ian was doing the run with the EV01s, he came past our base camp as we called it, and he's like, "I'm freaking out right now," right? Because
well, I don't know. I'm going to wait to see how Trevor cuts it because you're going to see me talking in the car during the EV01 run. And for the first few minutes, you're going to notice I'm silent. I'm horrified because the car had been parked for about 20 minutes while we were doing the wheel swap, and the interior got really, really warm. Mm-hmm. So on the first couple of laps, when I'm watching the energy consumption, it's through the roof because the AC is pumping to try and get the temperature down. And I'm thinking, oh my god, this can't be. It can't be. We're worse than the naked Tesla wheel. It couldn't be. And then after about 3 laps, it rocketed down, and then it just stayed there for the rest of the whole run. And I did a good solid 30-40 kilometers on that run. I wanted to be sure.
Out right now. The numbers.
When it hit 170, was that hovering between 173 174? I was like, I mean,
He had
I've not
biggest
slept in a
smile
week.
when he stopped and got out of the car, and I
Yeah.
just went,
Yeah.
that was awesome.
You know the Canadian group Broken Lizard?
Broken Lizard?
That put out the movie Super Troopers?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, sure, yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to put two and two together. Anyway, there was a scene early on in the film where one of the guys basically eats a bag of marijuana, and the cop comes over and is like, "I'm freaking out, man." That's what I was thinking now when Ian's like driving the car going, "I'm freaking out, man."
That's exactly how it felt.
Well, Ian's a happy camper
Big time.
because we have
Big
the
time.
numbers. So
Yeah, that was a year of not sleeping, man. Wondering if this thing was going to work.
I don't think you got any sleep last night. Actually, matter of fact, over the
No.
last few days, I don't think you've been wired for sound.
I have no idea what I'm running on right now. I've not a clue, but it's not sleep.
And you got to go to work tomorrow. So.
Oh God, I know.
Well, I think that brings us to the end of the show. Any closing thoughts you want to? I mean, Ian, since you're here, let's give you the opportunity to tell people what you want to tell people.
Well, the usual shtick. If you're looking for me on Twitter, the handle is @IanPavelko. Tesla Owners Online Forum. You can find me. Matt Hungarian is the handle over there. And finally, if you're looking for some Tesla wear for your bod, or some socks or mugs or anything, you can go to teespring.com, look up Evolveware, Matt Hungarian's Evolveware, and you will find all sorts of things, including the new Model Y shirt, which yes,
I'm not sporting tonight.
We're not. No, none of us are sporting. I don't even have one yet, but I promised to get one. But if you go on there, you can check it out.
How about you, Eric? Where can people have a chat with you if they'd like to?
You guys can follow me on Twitter. The handle is ECFix. That is ECFIX. My thanks to all the new followers, those who've retweeted the video from this week on Tuesday. If you've subscribed and followed since then on Periscope or on Twitter, my thanks to all of you. And, of course, thanks to all of the new subscribers to our YouTube channel. You can always just go to youtube.com, search for Tesla Owners Online, and then click on the subscribe button. That way you know when new videos like this podcast drop, and you can see all the antics that happened this week with the Fast Wheels EV team.
Awesome. Well, you can follow me. The handle on Twitter is Model 3 Owners. I encourage you to follow me because you can look through my Twitter feed this week, or actually over the last day, and you can see all the shenanigans that we're up to today. And you
Lots
can
of
follow
nonsense.
along. Yeah, lots of nonsense. We had too much fun. And my handle on the forum at Tesla Owners Online is TrevP, so make sure you follow me there. Just want to say a big thank you to all of our sponsors. That's the guys at Evanex, Fine Lab Ceramic Coatings, and our great friends at Dulaban Insurance. If you want some Tesla owners or some Tesla insurance here in Ontario, great thanks to all those guys. So that's it for this week, and we will catch you on the next one. Thanks for listening, no matter where you happen to be. See you guys. Good night.
Salut tout le monde.
Or referral.
Ooh.